Hello, this is the Mad Monk here once again with another new project. What I'm doing is relining my pond. Just over 20 odd years ago I dug this pond with my son, and now 20 something years ago has gone by. The pond finally began to tear and get holes in it, and so therefore the water level had gone down, and now I need to reline the pond again. The pond is 12 foot by 9 foot, oval shape, and the liner is quite a large liner. It's well oversized that I need. You can calculate out pond liners for the depth and the width and the sizes you're going to have your pond. But if you add about 3 foot to the width and the length of your pond, then you should be okay for the size of the liner that you need. I've bought a very large liner this time because I need to have some for the bog part of the pond for growing plants. The pond's filling up quite well now. I've left the old liner in the bottom, and I've put some cardboard in the bottom of the pond, and it seems to be filling up quite well and going into the shape. This will take quite some time because there's several hundreds of gallons in fact that goes into this pond. And as you can see, it's filling up quite well. When the pond is completely full, it's in the right shape, then I'll be cutting round the liner. Some of it will have to be tucked in under the brick, but some will have the brick slabs down over the edge and be cemented down, but I'll do another report when I get to that stage. At the moment the pond's filling up quite well. As I said, it'll take a few hours, but it will gradually go into shape, and as it goes into shape I'll have to lift up some of the bricks to allow the water to force down on the bottom of the pond. What I'm doing now is gradually going round to lift up some of the bricks, because the weight of the water will now allow the liner to fall down over the shape of the pond. Here's quite a large slab. You can see there that the weight of the water now wants to pull the liner into the pond. That allows the liner to stretch over the shape. Water's taking the weight and the shape quite good now. This brick here needs to be released slightly. That's it, and then the liner will gradually fall into the side, into the shape. This is my other pond. It's just a smaller pond, but it's got all the fish in that has come out from the other pond. There you can see some of the fish under the water. And some of the irises. And as soon as I can, I'll get the pond pump in here cleaned out so the fountain will go a little higher. Just to brighten up our film a little bit more, here's just a couple of lovely daffodils that we have in the garden. Doing quite well so far. Pond's filling up quite well. This liner for a 12 foot pond, as I said, was 18 foot, but I bought an oversized liner so that hopefully I can probably dig a bog around the other pond to take out some of the plant, give the fish more space to swim, and have some of the plants, the irises, grow in the bog side of the pond. Well, as you can see, the pond's filling up quite well, going into shape. And as I've been, or I should say, as the pond's been filling up, I've been going around the sides of the pond, putting some folds into the liner where it's needed to allow the force of the water to push the liner back into the shape of the hole. Don't know quite how many hours it's going to be before it fills up, but hopefully it should be okay when it is full. Since I've had the problem with the liner, the holes in the bottom of the old liner, just over a month ago, it's been quite quiet out in the garden, with no small waterfall going. Hopefully we'll try to get this done this weekend. These are a couple of pots that I've got my plants growing in. These are the irises, which hopefully we should get some nice plants and flowers this year, and also some umbrella plants. The pump we've got still left in the water because the problem is leaving the pump out of the water is that the bearings will seize up and then it won't be working when I am ready to put it back in. So it's a good thing to remember that if you do have to reline your pond, then keep your pond pump in water, keep it submerged so that it won't seize up, it won't rust up inside. When I emptied the pond out, there were some frogs in the bottom of the pond, and this was the spawn of the frogs, which I've taken out, and hopefully it will survive once I put it in a bigger pot, and hopefully we will get lots of tadpoles and lots of them turning into frogs. The problem is with keeping spawn in a pond is the fact that once they start to hatch out and start swimming around, it's just food for the larger fish. So hopefully we'll get a lot of tadpoles and frogs from this spawn. On this close-up of the spawn, you can see it's gradually growing. It's not only just circles, eggs inside the jelly, but it's beginning to grow and it's getting slightly longer. This has only been out of the pond and laid about 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, and hopefully we'll do a bit more filming later once we get some tadpoles hatching. Well, the pond's been filling up now for about an hour and a half, hour and 3/4. We did have to turn it off a little way in the middle, but it's filling up now. It's still not up to the 9-inch level, but it's filling up quite well, and probably we'll have to spend another day filling up the water. As the pond's been filling, the weight of the water has pushed out the sides, and you have to continue to keep on going round the plastic liner and stretching out certain sections of it so the folds go out flat and even at the bends. Doing well so far, so we report on the second day of the pond project. Well, as you can see, this isn't day 2 at the moment. This is still day 1, the end of day 1. I've just put on the pond lights and the pond's still filling up. Quite a few gallons to go in this pond, but we're going to finish soon. I think we've had a good day so far. We've managed to go out and buy the pond liner, and we've managed to seal the bottom of the pond again and get the liner down, and can start to fill up the pond. Doing quite well at the moment, and we'll come back to the pond tomorrow. We'll continue filling it up, and we'll do a bit more film when it is filled up. So catch you again later on day 2 of my pond project. Here we are at day 2. Turned the tap on this morning and the pond's still filling up. It's getting there to the top, and then we'll cut away the plastic liner and try and get these stones back around the pond again and get them all concreted in. It's doing well so far. Not as sunny as it was yesterday, but the birds are out singing, and there we have a lovely reflection of the trees in the pond. And there's my cat who loves to sit around and watch the water. Well, as you can hear, the hose I think is bouncing out of the water. I'll try and get that back in. Okay, so there we go. More reports very shortly, once the pond's just gone up a few more inches, so that we can start to cut and trim up and tuck under all the liner. Well, we're still on day 2 of my project. As you can see, I've been putting the slabs down around the pond now, and it's beginning to look a lot better, but unfortunately it's raining quite heavily, so I'm not sure quite how much more I'll be able to get done today. So it will probably mean going on to day 3, but it's looking good. It's filled right up to the top. If we zoom in a little closer here, we can see the liner where that part's got to be covered with slabs. This has been covered with slabs, got the gaps in for the cement. We're just starting this section now, and we'll try and do as much as I can before I stop for tonight, and then we'll have to carry on for another day, but there's no problem there. But it's looking good. As you can see, it's raining quite heavily, as I just said. Bringing out the birds, you can probably hear them in the background. Got a nice reflection in the water. It's the fullest it's ever been. Let's hope it remains like that. The problem I have at the moment is that I've managed to get up all the slabs from around this corner here, all the way around from that side of the waterfall down to this side. But unfortunately, I think the only way I'm going to be able to cut the liner here is by actually standing in the pond. And I'm probably going to have to stand in the cold water to cut the liner and try to tuck it under all the ivy in some way or another. Anyway, there we go. today's work, day 2. Well, this is day 3 of my pond project. As you can see, it's near enough all complete. I had a bit of a difficult job getting the liner to be tucked all under this area here that I'm showing you, partly because the slabs wouldn't move, and also there's all the ivy that's growing along there, plus the waterfall. So I had to actually stand in the pond to be able to cut the liner and tuck it underneath. But as you can see, we have the pond all back complete again. Plants in pots now. As you can see, the paving slabs around, all in place now. All I need to do is to do the cementing to get those all cemented back down again. But they're all laid in place, already waiting for cement. And the waterfall there, as you can see, is all working there. I think now the pond is much deeper than what it was before, because it's now, with the new liner, much more higher. As you can see, here's another view of the waterfall, all working quite well now. And in the bottom, we have the pots with the plants, so hopefully they'll grow quite well this year. As I said, all this paving slab now, we've just got to get cemented down. The frog spawn I've put into a bowl now. I have to try to save this because this is all the frog spawn that we have. If I zoom in just a little bit closer, you can see that they are growing now. All growing inside the eggs. They're getting longer. I don't really want to put them back into the pond because I think, as I said before, the fish would probably eat them like they usually do every year, and we need to try to preserve the tadpoles and let them grow into frogs before they escape, before we let them go. But there we go, that's the pond project, and it seems to be going quite well so far. Let's hope it remains topped up, and then we can put the fish back into the pond. Well, here we are now, back with our pond project. Just want to finish up here because, as you can see now, we've done most of the paving, all cemented in. The pond's filled up, 3 pots of plants in the water. And also, as you can see, the fish back in the pond. And zoom in a bit to see some of the fish. We're all quite happy. There's just a small part of the paving to be cemented in, which is over on that side. And then it's all completely finished, but the waterfall's going okay. I've taken out of the pond at least 45 fish, and they all seem to be quite happy. There's the seagulls flying over. And there you go, as you can see, all fish quite happy, everything back again. Hopefully it will stay clean can see there's some of the fish. Some of them are quite nice. They've got lots of quite a lot of fantails in there. And lots of different colours. So that's the end of my pond project. Everything back in and doing well. Maybe I'll do another video in a few months' time, perhaps when the weather's warmer, and hopefully these irises and lilies will grow that's in the pots. This is an update about a week later on my pond project. The smaller pond, large pond I should say, is now finished, and this is my smaller pond. And I've now taken out a lot of the irises from the back of the pond down there. And I've made a bog garden at the very back. And the reason for that is so that the plants can grow without having to take up too much of the pond. But not only that, if you remember, I had a bowl of tadpoles, and we now flick to the back to the bog, and I'll show you the tadpoles now. They are now all hatched out from the eggs, growing quite nicely, and all swimming about. So this is the bog garden at the back of the pond, and if we zoom in to see tadpoles, and there they are. And I hope that they'll all grow quite nicely, grow their legs and turn into frogs, and hopefully live in this part of the pond. This is another part of the bog garden. As you can see, they're all swimming about and quite happily. And maybe if they all survive, I'll do another update in a few weeks' time to show you with all the tadpoles with their legs growing into frogs. And there we go. See you again.